It is Sunday, October the 8th. It's Columbus Day weekend, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of The Ken and Glenn Show. And now, your host, Ken Walls.
What is happening, dude?
Hey, man, I got to tell you, as I watched that lead in, Theodora, nice to see.
Theodora.
As I watched that lead in, I started feeling such nostalgia. I really did. I looked and I thought we've done good, my brother. We've done good in the world, and that's kind of what's on my heart tonight, Ken. Is this whole idea of how do you feel about the job you're doing? The job you're doing of living, not the job you have Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I'm not talking about that job. I'm talking about your job as a human being. And I got to say, Go Live is such an important thing to you. It is to me too. But what I'm saying is it's been a driving force behind your teaching for so long. And frankly, I've gotten away from it, not because I had fallen out of love with it or that anything was certainly wrong in my personal life. Nothing. I just, sometimes in the ebb and flow of life, we're doing other things. And I realized that nothing brings me greater joy than to just turn on the camera and reach out to human hearts. And so I want to salute you for that intro because I know you put time and love into it and got someone to create it for you. And it looks great. And I'm proud of it. And I'm proud to know and love you. I'm just in a super positive frame of mind in general these days. It's not just tonight. It's I just don't know any point in being another way because that brings you the best experience of living. And it even got me through tonight's Dallas Cowboy fiasco. So some felt it was a football game. I thought it was like watching videos of trains crashing. It was pretty painful to be a Dallas Cowboy fan tonight.
Oh my God.
Well, how are you, man? I've missed you. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
I've been out of town for 16 days and I'm back in Texas and you're in Texas and we will gather this week. But how have you been and what's on your mind? What are you up for talking about tonight?
Dude,
other than our upcoming marriage ceremony, which
our marriage.
Yes.
We probably should have done a little more build up to that announcement, but
Ken and I have decided to spend the rest of our lives with each other. What's funny is nobody is even slightly surprised.
I know.
Everybody out there is going, well, it seemed like it was an inevitability and their wives were tolerant of their love for one another. And now they've just decided, let them go.
Let them do it.
Let them do it.
It's fine. Dude, honestly, so Larry Broughton, who you know very well.
Yes.
And we both love Larry. He's an incredible.
Larry was your guest in your program last Thursday night.
Yeah. And I saw a post that he put out, I think it was today, about his number one go-to thing every single night is gratitude, writing down all the things that he's grateful for.
Indeed.
And I posted, I love seeing all of the positivity coming from my friends on social media because there's a lot of negativity going on in the world.
Agreed.
I saw Elon Musk put a post out saying, how do we get rid of hate or something like that? And I said, love is the only way. I mean, you can't beat hate with more hate. It's just not.
There was a saying in the 70s, Ken. I want you to hear this. The saying in the 70s was this. I used to have a poster over my bed that said the following. And I was a teenager. And it said, fighting to end war is like loving to end love.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. There's no way to beat. I just, the end game is it doesn't end well, man. If we just keep stacking on hatred, and so I think that what you just talked about, and being in a state of gratitude, and learning to constantly be in a state of gratitude, even when you don't want to be in a state of gratitude. There's
I
times
think
when
gratitude is a discipline.
it is. I agree. I agree.
I mean,
And there's
it's not something that has to be entered into with force. But what I'm saying is, to me, it's a natural state of being. But it is a discipline in that when you go to gratitude with great intentionality, when you express gratitude as part of your daily discipline, and not, I want to be real clear when I say this, not because of fear.
yeah,
Not because you fear that whatever you believe in is going to smack you with a yardstick out of the sky. That is
right.
not a reason to be grateful. In fact, that's not a reason to believe in anything. I want to be real clear. Hey, Bob, good to see
There's
you, man.
Bob. Love
It's
that
not a
guy.
reason. Fear is not a great reason to love, right? So I'm loving today because I'm afraid not to be. I
Yeah.
suppose it's better to still love, but if you're doing the love out of fear, I'm lobbing a ball of conversation out there when I say this. I believe that if you are loving out of fear, or you are doing anything out of fear, you are contaminating the essence of the very thing you're looking to do. So if you're looking to love, you're contaminating the love you're sharing with others if the motive for doing it is fear based.
A- And the whole church said, "Amen." Dude, it's all about it. It really does come down to intention. It's just like money. Money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. If that's
Correct.
all your focus is on money. And when your focus, hey Lynn, it's good to see you on here.
Hi,
The
Lynn.
if your focus is on, the intention is just to be love. And I'll use you as an example. Now, I'm not at this level. I don't know that I ever will be. I've walked into restaurants with you, or been, how about walking into a building with you, and you stopped and picked up a cricket that was in, this happened recently, if you remember where
It
we were.
happened 24 hours ago, again, upon my arrival in Dallas. It's as though the crickets come out when they know I'm near.
Well, we were walking into a building, it's about a month ago in Oklahoma, and you said, "Oh, hold on." And I went, "What?" And you're like, "This cricket needs moved." I go, "What?" He's right in the pathway of where everybody's walking, and he's going to get crushed, and I'm going to do my part in saving him. And you literally moved him over to a grassy area. I believe a snake instantly ate it, but that's besides. I'm just kidding.
Well, what I did is I altered the type of death he was going to experience.
He was like, "Thanks, dude. I was hiding over here from that snake." I'm just
Right. Thanks a lot. I had cleared the snake's path and was hanging out in the doorway, feeling tremendous relief. No, in all
oh,
seriousness, though, I know you know this, so I don't need to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. You do know that that is not for show.
no,
That's
I
not for
know it's
show.
not.
That's not me showing off my great
Nope.
love for life. That is how I operate privately. So, how do we operate privately behind closed doors is a huge indicator of what's really so for us
Yep.
in life. And what's really so for me is that I understand that cricket had no more say so in becoming a cricket than I did in becoming human. That was decided for me,
Yep.
that we would get to hold dominion over so many other things. And I even got to thinking about our cats. We have 8 of them. So most people who know me know that, but we have 8. And I
Yeah.
started thinking about, what is a cat's experience on earth? I was thinking about this just the other day while I was in Utah. What is a cat's experience? And the answer is, it depends. So one of the cats, we rescued all of them at different times in different ways, but one of the cats we actually found on the freeway.
Right.
He was on the freeway, and he was on the freeway next to North Park Shopping Center, which is a huge uh, shopping center here in Dallas. And had nobody picked him up, first of all, for starters, he would have been killed, and he would have been killed that night because little kittens, and he was like 2 weeks old. Kittens in freeways do
Wow.
not make a good pair. So, but the point is, even if he had grown up, let's say he hadn't gone to the freeway that night and he'd just been born under a bush and stayed over near the shopping center, who knows how long he would have lived. And I'm hoping people can find something special and redeeming about this message instead of going, I don't understand you. Come on with Ken and Glenn. Glenn's running his mouth about cats. Um, this is not about cats. It's about life, and it's about choices, and it's
Right.
about what happens when we lay anointed hands onto something's pathway and make their path better, whether it's a cat, whether it's a cricket, whether it's a fellow human being,
Yeah.
whether it's a city park, whether it's an on ramp to a freeway that you have beautified because you're conscious enough to stop and pick up trash that somebody else put there. You didn't put it there, but you made it your job to remove it. This is just a beautiful way to live, period. And it has such a backwash of blessing affiliated with it that when we live well, things go well. I'm going to say it again. When we live well, things go well. And, under the heading of what is more often than not true, that is certainly true. Are there exceptions that something could happen to somebody that they're doing something good and something really rotten happens? Of course that could happen, but the overwhelming evidence suggests that there's tremendous value in being good, in coming from love. These are not just things to say or do or preach, they're the truth. So, what I was thinking about is what kind of life would these cats have had we not grabbed a hold of them, and specifically Chance. So we named him Chance, the one that, because he took a chance, ran out in front of my car. I almost killed him. And Carolyn didn't even see him. Thank God I did. Thank God Carolyn wasn't driving because she would have hit him. And I swerved, missed him, circled around, came back and said, there's a kitten on the freeway. Excuse me. So, long story short, we picked him up. And I'm thinking, what a difference in that cat's life, because he would have had cold temperatures to deal with in the winter, extreme heat in the summer, no medical care, and nobody providing steady meals. And it would have been a rough life. So now
Yeah.
Chance and his brothers and sisters have the most human like experience of life there is, meaning they live in comfort like we humans do. They eat on time. They never have to search for a meal. They are given medical care. And so, because we chose to have influence over what their future would look like, then we get to share a future with them. And I'm
Amen.
hoping that that makes sense to people here and realizing, look, if you're out there being good in the world, making a difference in someone's life, then you're doing great work here.
Dude, and for everybody watching that has not visited Glenn's home, I have had the blessing and opportunity multiple times to be there. It is quite the event when it's feeding time. It's an event.
It's like
I mean,
watching the horses gallop into the stable.
I mean, I'm like, dude, I felt like Custer. Like, where'd all these Indians come from? Like, where did all these cats come from? They know. And it's like they come from it's amazing. It's really amazing. And the fact that they all cohabitate and for the most part, they really get along well.
They're having a great life. And every day that feels good to me because I understand that our hearts are why they're having a
Look what
great life.
JD Walters says.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good old fashioned ass whooping.
It
Uh,
was it was bad. It sounds
and
like I didn't watch it.
Hey, Jay, let's have a phone call this week. If we can, not on Monday or Tuesday, because I'm teaching all day tomorrow and Tuesday, day and night, but later in the week. Be nice to catch up. I want to know how the film is doing. I've certainly shown it to a lot of people. A
Hey,
lot of people.
I have the trailer right here. If anybody
Sure.
would like to see the trailer to the movie,
And I
you
think in
go-
October, people are starting to think holidays a little more
Yeah.
than they think when it's 106 degrees in September. There's not
Like
much about last month that screamed Christmas.
it was 106 every
Right.
day.
Nobody goes, it's 106. God, if I only had a Christmas movie.
It's hey, if you guys want to see, drop a 1 in the comments if you'd like me to show the trailer. We actually have JD Walters on here, who's the freaking director and creator of this entire film. It's pretty amazing. And is Jay a producer too?
He's the executive producer.
The executive producer. There you go.
I was given an honorary executive producer credit because of my participation, but Jay's the man.
Jay is the man. And before we do this trailer, I just have to say for everybody watching, JD Walters is the nicest man in the world. Can we give him that title? I think
Yeah, I previously held I esteemed you to have that title. And then I met Jay, and my immediate spiritual reaction was Ken ain't shit.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm gonna unfriend you now, Jay. Oh, anyway, let's show the. You want to show it real quick?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Did you get some ones?
Yeah, I got a bunch of ones. Yeah, let's show the trailer real quick.
And then I want to say something about Brian. I'll say it before we go to the trailer. Can I?
Yeah.
I'm just reading in the chat now. I opened up my chat. My chat was closed. And it says, I put other people's and random shopping carts away. I have been doing that my entire life, Brian. So that is the kind of thing I'm talking about, right? Just being present to be in the world for those that are not being present. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Is the movie good to watch for an 8-year-old?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good movie for 8-year-olds. Sure. There's Bridget. Bridget is the gal that was there for the movie that was yelling, projecting her voice, quiet on the set, right when it was time to roll film. So
yeah,
she's
well,
amazing.
She was able to maintain order and restore order when it was needed. So I would say that Bridget did a great job.
Well, let's go. She said, I don't yell, I project. That's what I said. I didn't say you were yelling. So, all right, let's do this. Let's show the trailer real quick. Here we go.
Hello. Welcome, East Texas. Here we are at another Grumpy Old Santa Turkey Shootout.
We have a title to defend.
We'll see about that, old man.
Hey, Deuce, where's your partner?
I traded up this year. Spike, show him what you can do.
Oh, we got a turkey! Oh, there's a turkey right there. I saw it. Oh, there's a turkey right there. We got you, buddy. Terry, you can't yell turkey because you like your turkey sandwich. You're not even bowling. You're just drinking. Now stop it. You're confusing everybody.
Christmas is coming.
So how'd you meet your wife?
There's a dating app called Lasso. A lot of weirdos on there, though.
Nope.
So hang up.
Thank you.
Man,
Your stockings.
Nick,
All
these years, you still got an axe to grind.
is coming, my dear.
Her mom decided that she would come visit us with her new whatever it is.
We had 30 years of marriage.
30 years that you ended.
I wish you could just find a way to forgive her. And then maybe we could spend Christmas together again.
On a happier note, my sister's moving back into town.
Oh, Twinkie?
I'm gonna stop you like a Twinkie if you keep calling me that.
Well, now, how's the dating app?
It got awkward.
How so?
I'm Pretty sure she was nuts.
Well, you can't fix crazy, right?
But you can pray for him.
He forgave us and so taught us how much better the world could be when we stopped keeping score.
Big old stud is back in business.
Christmas is coming our way.
Hey, Terry, go home. Yeah, you're drunk again.
Kevin Farley is really funny.
Poor Terry.
I
Poor Terry, just drinking his life away.
Poor Terry. I know. Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's a great movie. So if you haven't, excuse me, go to Amazon or grumpyoldsanta.com or go to amazon.com. You got to search for Grumpy Old Santa movie on Amazon to find it. And
Theodora said you saw your daughter.
Yeah, my daughter's in the trailer.
trailer.
Thank you for that. If you and Jay and whoever had anything to do with that's so awesome.
This is
so
probably the best opportunity for you to thank Jay for cutting you out of the trailer.
Right now. Jay. Thank you for thank you, Jay, for cutting me out of the trailer. I had my hopes were so high, but you crushed my dreams.
Hey, at least you made the movie, man. I've shown it to several people, and they went, "Wait a minute, rewind it. Is that Ken?" They did, because I didn't tell them. I wanted them to spot you.
Oh, that's so awesome. Abigail has a friend she has friends over all the time. She has more friends but I called her friend and her in. I said, "Hey, did you know that Abigail was in a movie?" And Abigail goes, "Would you stop it? Please stop telling all my friends how awesome you think I am." And I'm like, "I think it's awesome you were in a movie." And her friend's like, "What's wrong with you? I would be telling everybody I was in a movie."
So have her friends spent at least the $1.99 on her, and then the real friends spend $4.99 because then they get to own the movie.
Right? I own it. So
I own it too. Hey, if that shows you anything about support, Jay may not even know that. I bought the movie.
Yes. I mean,
and I also, when I show it to people, I'm not showing it off of my account. I let them buy the movie. Look, and my feeling is this is where you have an opportunity, you, the viewer, you have an opportunity to show me that I am at least a $1.99 friend.
Look, JJ just bought it for $2.99. He got some kind of Amazon.
Did he buy it or rent it for $2.99?
I think it rents for $1.99 unless they raised it. Once in a while, Amazon does that. They'll just drop the price on something and tell nobody.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, crazy. Jay, I have a question for Jay, which is there some way he can track how it's doing in terms of number of viewers, purchases, things like that? Is that something that Amazon gives you? And we can have a private conversation about it, but I'm curious. Yeah. Oh, Bridget is saying that we're worth at least $5.
Oh my God. You know what, Glenn, I'm just going to, I want to make the announcement, the one besides our marriage.
About our upcoming wedding.
Besides that one.
Okay.
Look, Glenn and I, we started doing the Ken and Glenn show in 2020.
Yes.
And we did it all along to help people get through the
COVID,
the pandemic and the shutdowns and everything. I mean, we did everything remember how unsure everything was. I mean, everything was just so unsure. And we did it. We had Scott for a while, for a year. We did
every Sunday night. We were, and our common motive was to provide ease and reassurance for people during a very panic-stricken time.
And laughter. We laughed a lot. Oh my God.
And we still do.
We still do. But Glenn and I are brothers because we literally are cut from the same cloth. I would say that if you asked him and you asked me separately and without it being planned, what's your number one goal in life? Mine is to make a positive impact on the world and help people be better. That's my number one goal. And I would say that's yours as well.
It is.
Or very similar. So I remember back in 2020, 2021, people online saying, God, will you guys please go on the road? Will you come to our city and do live events? And we had people on, and they may be on here right now watching, that said they would even sell tickets for us to those events. And so Glenn and I have made the decision that we are going to do a live event here in Dallas, Texas. And it's going to be a 2-day event. We do know that much. It is going to be incredibly small. We're starting out on the first one. I have an office space. We have this one room. It holds 32 people, but we're going to sell 28 tickets. So only 28 people are going to be able to be there. Unfortunately, it can't be more this time. The next time we'll up the game, but this is kind of a last minute thing we're doing. And it's going to be at the end of October. The last week of October is when we're doing it. The 28th and the 29th, we are doing a live event here in Dallas, Texas, North Dallas. It's going to be in Prosper, Texas, actually. More details will be coming soon. My wife is literally working on a page because, look, right now I've mentioned this to several people. I wonder if I can make that happen in Cheyenne. I've been.
Have you ever been to Cheyenne?
I've been to Cheyenne.
I have been to Cheyenne
a couple times, actually. Yeah.
In fact, I knew Cheyenne, and she was less than shy when I was with her. Just want to mention, she's one of the people I dated as a teenager. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Little Cheyenne. She wasn't so shy. I'm going to leave it at that, Ken.
Oh my God.
Otherwise, I'll get in trouble here in mi casa.
Yeah. Oh my Lord, have mercy. So, wow.
At least Jose and Darlene are laughing. That's a good thing.
I know. So we're going to do this little event here for 28 people. It's going to be incredibly affordable. I believe we landed on somewhere in like the $597 range or something like that. We gotta dot the I's and cross the T's, but it'll be very affordable to come and attend. We'll provide lunch, and look, it's going to be technology and spirituality.
And another way to look at it, Ken, is the lunches were incredibly expensive, but the training was free. That's what you can tell everybody.
I mean, why am I even here? Hold on. Glenn's got an announcement to make.
Wait, let me do Ken Walls.
On a scale.
Ken's furniture has dents
I found
in it.
something, Glenn.
You didn't reel it all the way in, brother.
I can't.
You didn't reel it all the way in.
I can't. My wife said, she said that's rude. So
I went cray-cray in Salt Lake City, man, and went live 3 times while I was there.
You did.
I did. I was just hanging out at the house, and then I got in my car and not my car, but Susan's car, the Jeep, and Ty was with us and just chatting and feeling good, and just wanted to bring people in on that wavelength,
Hey, I just saw JJ is going to be here November 8th through the 14th, but here's the deal. I'm pretty sure, JJ, that I'm going out on a limb here, but I am fairly certain that on October 27th, there are actually going to be planes coming in and out of Dallas that day also.
This is true.
He's
And
like, now I'm just going to come to kick your ass. I'm sorry. I had to. Oh, I had to. Anyway.
is Jay Walters still with us? Is Jay still here?
Jay, are you still here? And Brian, we'll even provide Brian a birthday cake if he shows up for the event. So and you never have experienced happy birthday until Ken and Glenn have sung it to you.
That is a true statement.
It's true.
So Ken, I want to tell you what we were doing in Salt Lake City.
Yes.
I actually had 2 speaking engagements, one in Las Vegas, which I started my trip by going there for that one, a large one.
How did that
Randy.
one go? Did that go well?
Well, it was heavenly.
I'll bet.
So good, right? So Randy, my buddy who runs the Wounded Blue, this was their national meeting, and it was their 3rd annual. And it was great to talk to a group of police officers who gather together to support one another. And these are officers who were wounded on the job and were promptly discarded by the police. They were discarded because they were no longer of worth to the police.
Wow.
And so their own brothers turned. And apparently this is a much bigger problem than a lot of people realize. I was unaware of it until 1 year ago. It was exactly a year ago at Laurel Langmeyer's event in Reno, where Randy was there, and Randy Sutton, and we wound up becoming friends. And I explored it, his organization. It's called the Wounded Blue, and so they're there to help the people who were not helped by their own brethren wearing blue. And funds are being raised, and it's extraordinary. So they hired me to be their keynote lead-off speaker. I was the first speaker of the event. Hello, Daryl.
Hey, Daryl.
First speaker of the event, and it was at a beautiful hotel in Las Vegas, a hotel I'd never been to.
Which one?
Right there on Sahara. It's got a peculiar name. It's a boutique hotel.
Okay.
But really high end. I'm gonna have to look it up. But it was wonderful. And then unfortunately, I had to leave shortly after I got off stage. I stayed about another 90 minutes and shook hands and took pictures with people, but then I had to get to Salt Lake. And I was picked up at the airport and then driven up to Logan, Utah, which is about an hour and 30 minutes north of Salt Lake City, just south, like 8 miles south of the Idaho border.
Wow.
So extreme northern Utah. And I went from extreme heat and summertime temps here in Dallas to it being entirely fall and trees already changing and beautiful. The aspen trees were so they were so gorgeous with their yellows and oranges. I mean, fall's a great season. So
yeah,
it was a wonderful experience. And we're doing a comedy up there called Buster Brooks, which, believe it or not, they've got this thing on Fast Track. Oh, Doug is saying his son lives in, it's very cold there in the winter, he's saying.
Wow.
So I was really glad to get out while it's still fall. But we filmed the entire thing in Logan, and then they're in Los Angeles this week finishing it up. But they've got this thing on a fast track where it's going to be released in theaters in January, which I've never heard of a film being shot in October, but in theaters in January.
And for any SAG people watching that are saying, wait a minute, how did you do a movie if we're all on strike?
I would explain that. We had what is called the SAG Screen Actors Guild. For those of you who don't know the hip term SAG, any one of you that are over 50 years of age should be familiar with the term SAG, because you're probably seeing it all over your body. But but SAG has what's called the SAG Interim Agreement, which is for the indie filmmakers. And they have to reach out to SAG and get it approved and so forth. But then Nobody's crossing any picket lines. SAG actually wants us to do these films, and I've done 2 of them during this time. But you're the one who brought the strike up, Ken, so I do want to say this. I want to say that there is something that, although I voted for it, and I agree with the stance that we have taken wholeheartedly, there is something, though, about my 2 least favorite words as a coupling are the words "you can't." You can't, because I don't believe that. I believe I can. And so when someone slaps a sentence onto your life of what you can't do, you know, typically, I was telling you this on the phone, typically May and June are slow months for the industry, especially television. That's the time when TV takes off, and then we go back right after the 4th of July. And so everybody is eagerly awaiting the 4th of July because it's back to work. And, you know, and we love what we do. So for a lot of people, back to school is something they dread. For a lot of people, back to work is something they dread. We don't dread it. It's the lifestyle we want. We chose it. It brings us fulfillment. So we all wanted to get back to work. And instead, we've been on strike now for a few months, and 3 months now. And it's tough, because otherwise things would be going on. Now, one of the things I've coached my actors on in my workshop is, when the tide is out, here's the way to handle the tide being out in your life, whatever that is. When the tide is out, instead of complaining about the fact that the tide is out, and I'm speaking metaphorically, not just literally, but metaphorically, when what is normal is not what's going on. So what's normal is for the water to be there, surrounding the dock and coming up in your backyard and all of that. But when the tide goes out, you don't want to sit around griping about the fact that the tide is out, but instead think about what can be done in my life when the tide is out. So one of those things you can do is repair your boat. One of those things you can do is get the barnacles off of the dock and repair and fortify the dock, right? Take care of where it's eroding, where the wood is rotten, where steel beams need to be put in place, or whatever else. So I've gotten some amazing number of things, just an amazing number of things done around the house over the last couple of months, which has been phenomenal. So you do what you were not normally able to do, but the reality is, I'm ready to get back to work. I've done the things that I needed to do around the house, and one of those things was rebuild my dad's car and get it up and running, which it is, and it's running beautifully now. But I'm excited about the strike winding down. They got the writer's strike solved, so I kind of think the actor's strike will be solved sooner than later. Probably very soon. At least that's my wish.
Did you see who was watching here with us too?
I saw that Patricia had volunteered to be a bridesmaid at our wedding. Yes, that's beautiful. And by the way, so that everyone's clear, the Ken and Glenn Show, although it reeks of professionalism, we are not a professional show. Nobody's getting a paycheck for this. I'm not breaking any picket lines. We're just a couple of knuckleheads that love each other and like to share our mutual joy with you guys.
We like helping people, man. And I think, one thing that you and I do is laugh a lot and generate a lot of laughter as well.
We do.
And I think we need that. I just saw a comment by Zena about how sad the situation is
over in Israel.
Yeah. This world needs to relax and just love more and be more accepting, I think.
It's mind-blowing, Ken, for me, and we don't typically do the Ken and Glenn Show to discuss war, but it is interesting to me how, in a situation like that, the firing has to be agreed upon. You know what I mean? It's not just one person. Right. One person doesn't run out into a field and start firing weapons. So this means that this was discussed and it was agreed to.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be there to know that that's true. I mean, that's kind of the way the world works. So what is sad here is not just that it happened, but that clearly there was a discussion about it and a team of people said, yes, we need to do this. And it's horrifying.
It's unbelievable.
It's horrifying that many people could agree that ending the lives of innocent people was an important way to spend their time. So I know there's a lot more to it than that, but that's the extreme bottom line, is that you've got innocent people who are losing their lives because someone is not evolved enough to understand that this is not a good idea. And I think it's got everything to do with your level of evolution and your level of connectivity with your brethren, human beings, women, men, boys, girls, aunts, uncles, moms, dads, grandparents, everybody. At one point, it would be lovely. I'd love to see it in my lifetime. Don't know that I will, but I'd love to see when people finally realized we're all brothers and sisters, we're all connected. Because then you couldn't do it. If you think about that, it is evidence of the absence of connection. If you have connection with your brethren, I'm saying brethren, and I haven't even been drinking. But that's probably because I don't drink. And that's one of the main reasons I've not been drinking, is because I don't. Did we ever discuss the fact that I stopped drinking when I didn't drink? Isn't that funny? I'm like the only guy I know who quit something he wasn't doing anyway. Like, you almost never have a glass of wine and you've decided to quit. How bold of you. How bold of you, Glenn. You stopped doing something you would do about once a month.
Dude, we had hung out quite a while, and you're like, did I tell you I quit drinking? I'm like, I didn't know that you actually did. And you're like, well, I didn't really. I'm like, okay. Did you like do it a lot then when you did it? And you're like, no, I'd have maybe a glass of wine here and there, but no. I'm like, so you just quit that? No blackouts were involved. You didn't wake up naked in the street with your pants around your ankles.
No,
nothing.
I didn't. I chose not to do it Ken's way.
Wait, I never.
I'm playing with you, brother. Did you see what JJ said? He said, I quit smoking weed without ever smoking weed.
I'm with you, JJ. I'm the same exact way. Patricia
But
says
JJ is not quitting Oreos. Look at that. He's addicted.
Ask my wife about that. I literally,
they talked about that in The Wizard of Oz. A lot of people think Oreos were invented years later, but they were present back in 1939.
Really?
You don't remember them chanting? Oreo, Yodo, Oreo, Yodo. It was the Wicked Witch's team. All those soldiers, they were chanting Oreo. You don't believe it? Go back and look at a clip from Wizard of Oz. I don't think we can do that without being sued by the company, but Oreo, Yodo, Oreo. I'm telling you. Am I the only one here? Did anyone else? Does anyone here know and remember that chant from the soldiers during the Wizard of Oz?
I remember it. Yes.
Yeah.
But were they talking about Oreo?
They were wanting cookies from the Wicked Witch of the West. And look, Daryl Goldberg remembers it. I mean,
I remember.
Bill remembers it.
I remember it. I remember it. I didn't know they were talking about cookies, but
yeah, it's one of the reasons I'm in your life, Ken.
I've learned a lot from you. Not just
look, Bridget's even going, yes, outside the witch's castle. That's correct.
Yes. Oh yeah, JJ's correct about that, by the way. It's now public.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Can we look for the Oreo moment in The Wizard of Oz?
I'll look for it right now. You keep entertaining while I open up YouTube and there we are. Like literally there we are.
Well, that's not so bad. That's not so terrible.
Yeah.
So Jay, is the film being seen a lot? Or do you have ways of tracking that? Do they give you a report?
What the Wizard?
I'm asking Jay to talk to us.
Huh?
I was just asking Jay for some feedback.
I'll send you some. Clients started paying me in Oreos. Right.
I have a pack of them. Bridget says, on the fridge. Hey, what about this, Bridget? What about a pack of them in the fridge?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, here it is. I found it. I don't know if I mean I assume we can play it, right? Hopefully he's
yeah. I mean, it's
hopefully
just a
he-
bunch of soldiers chanting about Oreos.
but this is the color. This is in color.
Well, that's okay.
It wasn't in color when it first came out, was
It
it?
was in both black and white and color. Do you not remember that after the house landed on the Wicked Witch, that when they went outside, it was all in Technicolor? It
Oh,
was only
look,
the first part of the movie that was in black and white.
look what my wife just put in there for information on our event. She literally just built a funnel page for it. So that was fast. That took her like 10 minutes. She don't play. She don't play.
Mama don't play.
She don't play.
Jill
Yeah, so if
Walls.
you guys want where it's first come, first serve. I already have probably I got to go back through my notes, 10 or 15 people that have said, I'm in. As soon as you guys announce it, I'm in. I want to be there. So it's going to be it's 28 people. That's all we have.
So here's the announcement. There it is.
Yeah. So there's see now. Oh my God, it's Crystal. You need to meet Crystal. She is a sweet, sweet, sweetheart. Dear friend of mine down in Houston. You need to meet her.
Well, we're not far from Houston, Ken.
I know we're not. And I told you about that little jet service. It's like $150 to fly on JSX to Houston.
Yes.
It's like
when they lower it to 149, I'll go.
It's like 13.
You said it's 150, right?
I think it's one. I don't know.
All right. When they drop it $1, I'll be on the plane.
Oh my God. Daryl's got to run November 18th, Glenn, and 6,000 of his what?
Yeah, I'm speaking at the graduation of Platt College.
Oh, that's
I am
cool.
their commencement speaker because that is the college that Daryl runs in Southern California.
Wow.
And I've done it for many years until COVID and haven't done it since.
Wow. So you're going up. When is it? What's he say?
November the 18th.
November 18th. Wow. Ontario Convention Center. Jeez.
Yeah, it's big.
That's huge.
It's a sea of humanity.
Wow. That is so cool. So cool. That's awesome. So here I need to share this Wizard of Oz clip, right?
Yeah, them talking about Oreos.
I hope that it's okay. It's only 24 seconds. So here we go. You ready?
Yes.
Hold it. Did I give it full screen? Nope. I didn't. Still didn't. There I did. Okay. Here we go.
There you go.
Yeah. You weren't lying. Look, Jay's looking for some Oreos.
I mean,
oh my God.
How funny is that?
It's called March of the Winkies was the song from Wizard of Oz, also incorporated into the Metallica song, The Frayed Ends of Sanity.
And this is from my buddy Aaron Dinier.
Aaron.
My Canadian brother from another mother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz was 10X.
No doubt. Still my favorite movie.
Is it?
Yes. You should know that by now, love.
Wow.
Shouldn't you know that that's my favorite movie?
I know it now. Jill, my wife, Jill, who just learned about yours and my marriage that's coming up soon. Did I hear the line?
Double stuff when he peeked over the tree.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So my second favorite movie of all time is Shawshank Redemption.
Dude, we lived 25 minutes from the prison in Mansfield, Ohio.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Jill toured it. Went on a ghost tour.
And I'm friends with Bob Gunton. We should have Bob Gunton on the Ken and Glenn show. Look up Bob Gunton. No, look him up right now while you're on the screen share and show Bob Gunton, Gunton, and tell me if you recognize him. Let's see if the audience knows who Bob Gunton is.
Oh, I know who he is. I just saw it. Brian's got to go get some Oreos. Literally, Jill went and picked up some Oreos for me yesterday, so I'm good, I think.
Bob Gunton did 24 with us back in the day.
JJ knows.
Well, you haven't shown a picture yet.
I know.
Sandy McNichol has done nothing else with her life except watch Shawshank Redemption. She claims she's seen it about 1,000 times, which would take you 3 years nonstop watching it every day.
Jeez.
So Sandy, as much as that's a beautiful thing, I'm concerned about your lack of other activity. I hope she's laughing. Is Sandy laughing?
She's laughing, yes. Remember when Lion King is an unbelievably good movie too. When Simba from Lion King, Dad hit him on the head and said, "That hurt." He said, "That was in the past. Get over it." So many of us live in the past. We need, oh, wow.
Yeah, so Crystal's moving us into the closing chapter of the Ken and Glenn show for tonight, because I had this talk with both Susan and Ty, actually with Ty at his birthday lunch, about how tragic it is that you very seldom will meet someone who is a full-fledged participant in the now.
Right.
There's Bob. See, look, he's got the 24 logo behind him.
Oh my God, look at that.
That's so Bob, Ken, will you look at that? Will you just look at that? Will you look at that?
Would you just look at it?
Just look at it. So Bob Gunton was the warden in Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, I remember now.
So I think we can agree that I have widely varied taste, given that my first favorite movie is Wizard of Oz, followed by Shawshank Redemption, followed by, you guessed it, What About Bob?
Dr. Marvin!
Dr. Leo Marvin! Any other What About Bob fans here tonight?
Oh my God, I love What About Bob. That movie is ridiculously funny.
So you think about, I want to go back to Crystal's comment, because you think about how much time and energy are wasted by thoughts of either dreading the future or feeling traumatized by the past. And it keeps us from being present right here in this moment. And you can see it on people's faces, because you realize, is something wrong? Like right now, is something wrong right now with this moment? No, but you've been upset all morning. Yeah, well, that's because you're not in present time. You're either in pain about something that occurred, or you're dreading something that may occur in the imagined future. And one of the things that's true about our just the spirit of dread alone, dread is a magnet that will create the very thing you don't want. So there's actually no point, there is no valid argument for dread. It doesn't exist. You can dread all you want, but you'll never be able to truly justify your reasoning for dreading something, because what's coming is coming. And at least 50% of the times we think that 50% of the time we think something is coming, it doesn't show up. Right? So we're sitting here planning in the spirit of dread for something that isn't going to show up anyway, which means we've just had a colossal waste of time. And in the event that the thing we're concerned about or worried about does show up, then not only does it ruin today, but the future is ruined as well. So now it's twice as bad, when you could have at least had some measure of peace before the disturbance occurs, I'm just not a fan of dreading things, Ken.
What happened? Why is
Although I don't know why it's going out. Maybe
I was clicking the wrong button. Sorry, this is my first time ever doing this.
I really like Crystal. I think Crystal needs to take over. I'm going to sit out the rest of the night because she's so inspirational. It's beautiful. She says we all have been victims of some sort, and that will either break you or make you. Let your past mold you into who you're supposed to be. Amen. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Crystal,
really,
she's a badass.
Really true. Really true. And that's awesome. The thing is, it isn't our past that shapes us. I want to be real clear. It is our reaction to our past that shapes us. Because you can have people who are exposed to identical stimulus. You could have 10 people lined up, all of whom are exposed to the same stimulus. And in this case, we'll call it negative stimulus. And you'll still have 10 different responses. You'll have 10 different finished products, right? Because of interpretations. And so to me, the teaching here is that our job, our moral imperative, is to become healthy processors of life. So that whatever's going on, you're processing it from the highest possible place. What is your interpretation of this moment? What are the takeaways? What is an available response to you that would be favorable instead of going down a predictable victim-themed reaction path to whatever it is that occurred? If something ugly occurs, that doesn't need to be the beginning of the end. That can be just something we look at and go, okay, note to self, let's don't ever do that to somebody else. Or let's try not to step in this mud hole again.
Right.
And learn from it. Life is about 10% of what happens to us, 90% of how, well, there it is. Yeah. Yep.
And again, these are, what Philip just said. I mean, I've heard that many times, right? We all have. Yeah. I had Brian Tracy, the great Brian Tracy, on my show, my podcast. And I said to him, who, by the way, what was that? You showed me a clip. Was it a clip? Was it on YouTube with Brian Tracy talking about you?
Oh, yes, that's true.
That was
that actually happened. I thought it was the clip I had shown you of Timex and Rolex, my dad's watchdogs.
What?
My dad had 2 dogs. He named them Timex and Rolex, and then told everybody they were watchdogs.
Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. That's funny.
This is late night humor, Ken. It's about as good as it gets. Is anybody laughing? Did anybody find that funny? Come on, that's funny.
That was funny. But I had him on, and I said, Brian, because he kept saying, write this down, write it down. If you write it down, you can, create your life the way you want it. And I said, and he was talking about, and everybody's laughing, by the way, at your joke. I thought maybe it was you were being for real, though. That's why I'm not.
It's an old joke.
I didn't know. But I said, Brian, everybody listening or watching right now, they're going to hear all of this wisdom, and they know deep in their hearts that it's true, that everything you're saying and all the stuff you've taught for all these years, everything you've taught for the past 50 years, everything I've taught for many years as well, like they hear it, they know it, but they don't take action. They don't do it. They don't do what they know they need to do.
Yeah, because you can't issue evolution to people.
I know, but how?
What is the saying, Ken? Come on, what's the saying? You know it. An unsolicited education seldom sticks.
Right. Yeah.
Come on. Of the same opinion still.
Yeah.
Give him the quote.
A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. But I think though here's my mind. Okay. My mind is like, damn it, wake up. Just wake up. Like, it's right there. The answers to your problems are right there. All you have to do is all this stuff that Brian Tracy says and Glenn Morshower says and Ken Walls, like, do these things and your life can be completely different. And so
but then you're going
better.
to rob them of their right to feel victimized.
Ouch.
They don't want your help. They want to talk about receiving your help.
Dude, I think you just gave everybody that is on that page a proverbial kick in the groin.
No, I mean, I'm not being ugly when I say that. The average person doesn't really want help. They want to talk about wanting help.
Yeah.
They want to talk about it. It's a great topic. It's a great topic. It sounds great. It looks fabulous on paper. It allows you to make posts right and left about how encouraged and optimistic you are about your future. But then you hear there's this thing called work to do, right? That you might have a role involved. There might be work to do, and there might be new disciplines to form, and there might be antiquated habits that have caused you problems for years that it's time to let go of. And the fear is in letting go of that which is familiar. And so, and wellness is it's a great thing to talk about, but it's another story to practice it. So I think people get a huge payoff in getting people on the phone or in emails or whatever it is in group discussions to complain. I think complaining is operating at a all-time high these days. Just find something to complain about and gather as many fellow commiserators as you can find, people who want to bitch and moan about the quality or lack of quality of their lives. And so wellness is for the choosing. If you decide,
all these Texas pro sports fans are not happy tonight.
I came back from the Astros game. Okay, so right off the bat, this tells me that Crystal is an Astros fan. And you know how you know? Because she called it the Astros game. She didn't call it by the other team. She called it the Astros game, which means she's an Astros fan. That's one of the things we do.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I thought I was going to watch a Cowboy game tonight. Instead, I watched a 49er game. So I didn't see what happened in the Astros game. Crystal, tell us what the final was. I knew they played the Twins, but did the Twins prevail? I guess they did.
Yeah. I don't think she'd be pissed off.
Crystal, what happened in game one? I know that was game two, but I've been out of commission. I was traveling yesterday. Yeah, Bridget, that's true, honey. Growth can't happen in a comfort zone, and too many people don't want to leave their comfort zone. Also true.
Look at him read her like a book.
Oh, it's tied. So Houston won the first game, Eric?
Game one.
Eric's down that way. How about the Texas Rangers whooping up on the Baltimore Orioles in Baltimore?
Today?
Come on with it. Game 1 and 2.
Dang.
In Baltimore.
Wow.
But you know what? If I'm their coach, if I'm their manager, they call them manager. Isn't that interesting? All the other sports is like, and now our coach. And baseball goes, we'd like to introduce you to our manager. And where we differ is our manager actually wears the uniform as though he's still playing. I mean, is that weird? Could you imagine a hockey coach if they came out in uniform? Imagine a football coach with a helmet on. It's the only team leader that wears the uniform.
Wow.
I mean,
you're
why?
Right. I never have thought.
Why are you in uniform? Were you going to suit up and play today if someone's injured?
Dude, okay, wait a minute. That's such a random thought.
It's funny. Why have we gotten used to we're going to dress the manager up as if he'll be playing today? It's the only sport that does that.
She said, you paid $679 for a ticket. Oh my God. I need Simba's dad to hit them on
Crystal, we need to talk because I will train you for $179. You can put $500 in your pocket and be less concerned about what the Astros do. That's funny.
My God. That's
Oh, honey,
hilarious.
I'm sorry they didn't win, but don't you think they'll win the series? I think they'll win the series.
Against who? The Twins?
Yeah, the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah. Man, are they going to play in Minnesota?
They will now.
Well, it's going to be cold there.
No, it's an indoor stadium, Ken.
Oh.
Baseball is not a big snow sport. In those cities, they figured out that maybe having snow on the playing field is not in their best interest.
Oh my God. I quit. I don't want to be, I'm resigning my position on this show. It pays well.
No, you're
not.
not.
No, it doesn't.
No, you're not. You love it here as much as I love it here.
I love it here. You kidding me?
So listen, game 3 for the Rangers in a best of 5 series, having won the first 2. Look at Paul. Paul checked in.
Paul, what
So
is happening, dude?
game 2. Oh wow, Glenn's 2017 commencement address is on YouTube. Just type in Platt College 2017. Oh wow.
Oh.
Isn't it great that I take a bunch of college grads and immediately talk to them about sperm? I mean, I just cut right to the chase.
About what?
About sperm.
I thought that's what you said.
I think we should watch it. We should watch that right now. But Paul, good to see you, brother. Welcome. Glad you're here.
You did not immediately talk about that.
Yeah, I did.
You didn't.
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
Okay. JJ says play it.
He just told you how to do it. He said, I didn't even know this was on YouTube, Ken. I've never looked it up.
When JJ says, he's like E.F. Hutton. You do what he says. Like, that's just the way it is. How do I do it? PLATT.
Crystal wants me to sell my sperm because I would make brilliant children. That's funny. Crystal, I have 2 kids. My kids are grown. My kids are 43 and 40.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Platt College what? What am I putting in here?
Platt College. What did he say?
Switching between. Oh, it's right here. Type in Platt College.
Platt College 2017 graduation.
2017 graduation. And
Crystal's ready for me to have some brothers and sisters for them. That's beautiful. JJ says it's listed as Glenn Little Swimmers, glenslittleswimmers.com. That's funny.
Oh my God. So makes my college graduation commencement a lot less interesting now.
Well, let's watch and see how this
right.
goes, Ken. I haven't even seen it. This should be interesting.
It's 3.5 hours long.
No, you don't watch the whole graduation.
It's 3 hours and 37 minutes.
Sweetheart, my talk is not 3:37. Let's just watch a couple of minutes of the talk.
Okay.
That's the whole ceremony.
Okay.
That's all of the graduates getting their diplomas.
Okay, hang on. First, we got to get people to share this out. Come on, share this out. Second, while I'm getting this ready, announce what we're doing. Would you mind doing that? Just making the little announcement.
Ken and I, are you talking about us doing our coaching?
Our live event here in Dallas.
Yeah, well, it's the beginning of several of them that will be in a city near you soon.
Yes.
Depending on how long the strike lasts. But I'm doing the thing I want to do most, which is to love on people and have them operating at maximum efficiency. That matters to me. And I really, honestly, I happen to think that the difference between, can I get serious for a moment?
Yes.
Because there's been a lot of playing tonight, but I want to get serious for just a moment. The difference between having a good life, an okay life, and a great life is not that, it's not that different. It is a commitment to intentionality, the intentionality with which we live. And if you get very intentional about having a plan for what your life does and does not include, then it creates beautiful outcomes. But we have to be outcome minded instead of experience minded, meaning I want this experience. I want to know what that tastes like. And I want to do this. And I want to do that with no regard for the aftermath. I did a talk on this the other day, that when you become aftermath conscious, does this choice I'm making today create the aftermath that I desire in my life? And that is the difference between living life and designing life. So are you living your life? And the answer is probably. I'm not here to take anyone's inventory, but I will say this. There's only a very small percentage of people who are actually designing their lives. They're not merely living them. So when you think in terms of the difference between am I or am I not, which one am I doing? Am I living my life or am I designing my life? And to design your life means you're highly intentional about the things you allow and disallow. And I'll tell you who really made this abundantly clear, that brought it to the forefront of a human understanding to the front lines. And that was Dr. David Hawkins, who said that every thought we run and every action we take either contributes or contaminates.
Amen.
I'll say that again, that every action we take, every thought we run, either contributes or contaminates. So it's easy to remember because they're both C words, they're both C-O-N, so contribute, contaminate. So even your tone in your primary relationship, how you're talking to your loved one, stop and listen to your own tone. Does this tone that I'm using in this moment, does it contribute to this relationship? Meaning, does it bolster it? Does it fortify it? Does it uplift it? Does it encourage it? Or does it contaminate it? And I promise you, if you're yelling at someone, you are simultaneously contaminating. And what's interesting is if you're yelling, it's because you suffer from a massive need to be heard at the expense of overwhelming someone else with a volume choice as a tactic. So if I'm louder than you, then you will pay attention by God, which only is disruptive, right? Nobody ever yelled their way to a peaceful future.
You're right. Hang on a minute.
It doesn't work that way.
I'm just kidding.
It doesn't work that way. So
I'm kidding.
I feel very strongly about that, Ken. And the primary reason that I told you I wanted to do this with you is to be a facilitator. And I certainly don't esteem myself to be a know-it-all, but I got to tell you, I am certainly an admitted practitioner of love. That I am. And I walk my talk. I come from love. And you can count on me to be in the spirit of love when we meet, whenever that may be. So that's very easy to do when your life is a testimony to what it means to design your life. And by the way, Daryl, that's what I'll be talking to the students about this year, is you're now in a position to go out into the world and design your life. Therefore, don't allow anyone to bestow their life or their vision for your life upon you. But instead decide that with this time that I've been allotted on this beautiful, mysterious blue ball in the middle of space, what am I going to do with it? And be highly intentional about it. Be very committed to doing it. Understanding we live in a choice, consequence, cause, and effect world. For every choice, there's a consequence. For every cause, there's an effect. And what am I going to do to create the life that I dream of living? It's entirely havable. You know, in my seminars, I talk a lot about estimated havability, which is how havable do you esteem this to be? And Ken and I will talk about that when we do our weekender with you guys. So do come and see us in Dallas. And then as we get more adept at working this, because it's brand new for both of us, the language is not new, but it's new for us to teach this in this way. It's going to be fun to take it on the road and go around the country. And who knows, Paul, maybe even Canada.
Hey. You didn't get my joke when you were saying.
I'm sorry, I was rambling.
And no, you weren't. I yelled Jill.
Oh, I heard you. When I talked about nobody ever yelled their way to greatness, you went, I agree, Jill. I heard it. I thought it was funny. I just tried to blow through it and ignore it.
Look,
are you going to play that clip?
I am.
Because I'm very curious. If you don't play it, I'm going to watch it when we get off tonight.
No, I'm going to play it. I won't play the whole thing, but I'm definitely playing it for sure. It's ready. It's queued up. You ready?
Nice.
Here we go. Let's play it.
Well, another year. This is 8 years straight. I'm honored to be here. Congratulations to all of the graduates and to your families. Starting with Ontario, then Platt expanded out to Riverside, and then Alhambra, and now Riverside's a little carried away with itself. And now Anaheim. Anaheim is part of the family. Awesome, awesome. I just want to take just a moment. I don't plan my talks. That's part of being a tangentialist. And Daryl has been a friend of mine for many, many years. You guys are blessed to have this team together. But I want to just take a moment to tell you about someone, just to mention her name, because I really feel her right now. I feel her presence in this room.
I bet it's Shelley
But
Paneer.
until 2 years ago, Shelley Paneer, a dear friend of mine,
I knew it,
sang the national anthem here for several years straight. And the last time she sang here, which was 3 years ago, she pulled up in a wheelchair and crawled out of that wheelchair and got up to sing the national anthem. The last 2 years, she was too sick to sing here. And last year's ceremony, 5 weeks after the graduation, Shelley passed away. And I just want to mention she was my closest friend. And I want to mention, Shelley, we feel you here today, and God bless you. You know, I've got several things to talk about, and they have me mic'd so that I can move about, which is a beautiful thing because I seldom stand at a podium. But I want to mention that Platt College, the growth of Platt College is so incredible. I have watched this crowd grow bigger and bigger every year. And now Daryl has been talking to me about future broadcasts for radio and what the radio ads plugging Platt College might sound. So fast forward with me, if you will, in time to radio in the year 2020, when the announcements for Platt College will end something like this. It will say, Platt College available now in cities such as Ontario, Alhambra, Riverside, Anaheim, Bellflower, Canoga Park, Garden Grove, Torrance, West Covina, West LA, San Bernardino, North Hollywood, Pasadena, City of Orange, Costa Mesa, Riverside, Upland, and the city of Rancho Cucamonga. So I fully expect Platt to expand to that extent. I've been an actor my whole life. I was born in Dallas, Texas. At age 18, I made the decision to move to Los Angeles. And I would be remiss if I didn't teach. I mean, you have 7,000 people here. It seems like I owe you the opportunity to learn how to speak in Texan. And we're going to do that by just having you count with me to 10, if you would, in Texan. Will you play along? Will you repeat after me? You'll remember this for a long time. You will not be able to unhear this. So repeat if you would. Just say 1, 2. No, you got to stick your chin out and look a lot more stupid than that. Okay, it goes like this. 2. That was pretty good. 3. The next one is 2 syllables. It's pronounced 4. No, that was 4. It's 4, and it rhymes with lawnmower. Say it with me. 4. Back of the throat. 5. Whistle on your S's. 6. Let me hear that whistle. 6. The next one, in the state of Texas, we had a march in the 1950s on the capital of Austin and had the letter V removed from the number 7. So in most states, they still spell it S-E-V-E-N. In Texas, we spell it S-E-B-M, not N, and it's pronounced 7. Oh, that was perfect. Back of the throat. 8, 9. They're up here doing it. That's awesome. Say it with me again. 9. And this one's 2 syllables. 10, which rhymes with Glenn. Awesome. Okay, so I want to tell you, first of all, graduates, the 2 things you will need more than anything for success in your life. You will need gratitude, first and foremost. Gratitude. Gratitude at the beginning of each day, gratitude throughout the day, gratitude at the end of the day. And whether you believe in God or not, I happen to, but Daryl didn't ask me to run a church service. Whether you believe in God or not is not the issue. You can still be in gratitude at all times. And I got to tell you, gratitude will keep you well, and it will keep your life well. Wake up and be thankful that you made it through another night. Your heart beats 33,560 times while you sleep. 103,680 is what it beats throughout 24-hour day. That's at 72 beats per minute, the average heart rate. 103,680 per day. That's a lot of ba-bump, ba-bump, ba-bumps. So 33,560 of those go unsupervised. In other words, it's a big deal when you have the privilege of waking up. And every one of us, and this is one of the things that I say at all of the graduations, every one of us, what we have in common is you are winners by design. So graduates, please know this: you do not need to know how to learn to win. It is your nature. We know this because of the fact that to start this whole adventure called life anyway, you outswam, and here's the actual math, 500 million other sperm in order to arrive here. 500 million sperm. Daryl said, be sure to talk about sperm when you're here. So 500 million sperm. That makes 7,000 Little League. So you can see that it is your nature to win. And here's what I believe about each one of you. It is what I have believed about myself my whole life, which is that if you swam that fast, what did you have in mind? You must have had something extraordinary in mind, which was the desire to express. And speaking of expressing, right now I'm feeling this sudden urge to dance.
Yeah, and I think we've seen enough, but people can watch this on their own time if they wish.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious, dude.
Hey,
Wow.
buddy, did I tell you, speaking of just being grateful, did I tell you that I broke another record of mine today?
No.
I broke another record. I woke up 23,543 times. That's a new record for me.
Wow.
Yeah. I break the record every day.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. You're breaking a record every day by just waking up. You've broken your previous record. And I'm at 23,543.
That, what you just said in that speech, we've talked about this many times. But
Wait, are you talking about just then or when I was talking to the students at Platt College?
The students.
Yeah.
You said you outswam 500 million sperm, and you were swimming pretty fast. What did you have in mind?
That's how I close all of my talks these days. What I say is the last thing I say to them, and this is what I said in Las Vegas and in Utah. I said, so going back to the mentioning of the sperm race, I just have one question for you as I close today. Why on earth did you swim so fast? Right? And surely it wasn't for mediocrity. I mean, if you're going to outswim 500 million competitors, you probably had something in mind. And when I say you probably, I'm referring to your soul, right? Your soul had a mission in mind. What did it want to do with its time here? Why was it in such a hurry? Why did it need to win against such astoundingly, seemingly insurmountable odds? Why? If you're going to be that impressive with your victory, you must have had a plan. What was your plan?
Amazing.
Oh, Eric loved the Texas 10. That's because he's a Texan. That's why he loved it.
Yeah. Dude, we have been on almost an hour and a half. We just go.
Well, we like to do 90 minutes typically for our show. So does anyone have anything they'd like to talk about before we wrap it up tonight?
If anyone on this feed would like tickets, please let Glenn know and I will arrange it. Must have tickets. Look at that. Way to go, Daryl.
Wow, you all just got invited to a graduation in Southern California on November the 18th. How cool is that?
Oh, it's Ontario, California.
Yes, not Ontario, Canada, Ontario, California.
I thought this entire time I was thinking it was in Canada.
Well, if it were in Canada, you could have proven to me that we are at least two country friends. That you would go to a foreign country for me, Ken.
I would go to another planet for you, dude.
Paul, likewise. Paul said he's grateful he dropped by. Well, we're grateful you dropped by, Paul.
Yes, I'm very grateful for everyone who dropped by here for sure.
I'm grateful for all of you. So good to see all of you. Thank you for your comments. And, you know, I'm not spending any time on Clubhouse these days. So some of the people I know from Clubhouse, it's nice to see you guys.
Dude, I deleted the app. Did you hear about their most recent update?
Tell me.
They're
I tried to go on one night about 3 weeks ago and couldn't even figure out what's going on. I didn't even know what to do. So he wrote Clubhouse is dead.
Yes.
What does that mean, dead? Paul, is that an opinion or is it actually dead now?
I don't know if it's dead. Grant Cardone put out a post about it too, man, blasting them because in their terms their terms of use, it said something like, you don't own, we have all rights to use your voice, your likeness, everything. You don't own anything. Literally, it said, I'm summarizing it probably horribly.
Well, then they deserve to have it die.
Yeah, I agree.
If they're going to start trying to claim access to people, yeah.
No hallway. See, I mean, listen, Clubhouse was great back when it first started. It was unbelievably amazing.
I wouldn't know Paul if it weren't for Clubhouse.
Right.
So I'm grateful. I wouldn't know Michelle Geske if it weren't for Clubhouse. There's so many people and so many of my students that came to us via Clubhouse.
Yeah. It's amazing. Bridget says, gain some great insights from y'all tonight. Grateful for y'all. We're grateful for you as well, Bridget. You're amazing.
Love you, sweet girl. Hope you're well.
Yeah, Lynn said goodbye, Clubhouse. I deleted it from my phone. I'm like, because they literally, if they're saying that in their terms of use, if it updated on your phone and you open it and clicked OK, you just told Clubhouse that you got free use of my likeness and my voice and everything about me.
JJ says Clubhouse was amazing, but I deleted it a year ago.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel that way about one another.
There's Cynthia Man.
They're like, yeah, he was great a couple of years ago, but I've deleted him.
Oh my God.
Well, it's a little bit of it's just food for thought. Because something I'd like to say before we sign off tonight, I'd like people to grow up when it comes to dealing with relationships, because the child's version of a relationship, which we see in operation, full-blown operation in adults all the time. I'm going to map it out, and here's how it goes, Ken, and it's true in dating. It's true in business. It's true in friendship. And it's not true for me, but I hate that it's often true in the world, which is people are enchanted with someone, so they enter the honeymoon phase. Now, keep in mind, what they're enchanted with is not the person. What they're enchanted with is the presentation of the person that the person wanted you to buy into.
Yeah.
So they presented an image. They presented a picture, knowing that that picture of excellence could enlist your support. Whereas if they would go on and commit to their dickishness or whatever their issue is, if they lay that out in front of you, there's a really good chance you're going to pass. Right? You're not going to purchase the friendship. You're not going to sign up for an experience. So they have you buying into an illusion. And both parties get mutually enthralled with one another's illusion presentation. And the problem is you can't conceal the truth about who it is you are, because people leak. So the truth about who we are leaks in or leaks out of us. And that's when people have a reaction. And before you know it, they're tired of the very person they had fallen in love with. And then they cut the cord and move on. So it's like as soon as someone falls for somebody else, the clock is ticking on how long it will be before they start talking smack about them or are disenchanted, and they move on. And here's the problem. The problem is that their approach to friendship is flawed, because what they're really addicted to is new car smell. They want new car smell in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I'd like to really have people chew on that a little bit tonight. New car smell. And as soon as it's no longer new car smell, they can't wait to get rid of it. And they traded in something that really could have been something because it was maturing, right? And new car smell doesn't always last. Things change, but that doesn't mean the love isn't there. That doesn't mean the relationship is doomed. It simply means it's passed through that chapter. Then now we get into even sweeter smelling chapters if you would simply be patient. And if you wouldn't toss something out of your life just because it's lost its new car smell.
Right.
Listen, the new car smell in my marriage, that ended decades ago. But we're now into an even sweeter aroma of patience, of love, of support, of forgiveness, right? And so now, can I have 2 or 3 more minutes to address this, Ken?
Of course, dude.
It's so interesting that, thank you. It's so interesting that, we've been together a very long time. We've been together for 46 years. And it's been mostly perfect with a few speed bumps along the way.
Yeah.
Because we are human. But I got to tell you, there are, if you were, and I've been asked this, I've been interviewed so many times about my relationship and about relationships in general and longevity and so forth. If you think of your relationship as a boat, right? If you think of your own belief systems as a boat, if you don't have a relationship specifically to refer to, but I have seen bigger boats. I've seen catamarans, meaning twin hulls in the harbor. I've seen newer boats. I've seen boats that have more toys, more bells and whistles on them than my rowboat of a relationship. But here's the difference. And people say, well, don't you want to trade it in? And the answer is no. Why? Why wouldn't you want to trade it in for something newer, better, sweeter, younger, whatever it is? And the reason is simply this. I know how my boat performs in high seas. My boat's been tested. I know what it's like for us to get the snot kicked out of us and still make it back to the dock in the spirit of love. And if the boat needs repair, then you repair it. But we've survived. There's something beautiful about survival, beautiful about it. But I just think today and age, so many people don't even give themselves a chance to survive anything. As soon as there is a challenge, they're out of there. A challenge indicates that we have a problem. No, it doesn't. Right? But it's so interesting how quickly people will abandon a love, a friendship, a connection. And my feeling is you probably never really knew what love is if you'll drop it that fast. Where's your stick-to-itiveness? Where's your longevity? Where's your follow-through? And these, there's an old saying, how we do anything is how we do everything. And boy, is that ever true in business. Right? So if you won't persevere in a relationship, you're certainly not going to persevere in business. You're not going to persevere because it's not who you've decided you are. So I'm a big fan of people who find ways to endure. And I don't mean endure as in enduring pain. I mean enduring because they believe that what they're pushing through for is worth it. So they will fight. And I just don't see that these days. I mean, it's there in the world, but what I'm saying is it is an immediate gratification society that once its needs met, let me say it again, once its needs met now with no buildup, no infrastructure, they don't earn the relationship. Right. They start it in later chapters. What I mean is they never work their way up to something. So all of a sudden they're meeting someone, they're saying hello to someone, they're in bed with someone before they even know what their birthday is. And I'm not the ethics police here at all. I have no business being that, but I'm just saying, just as a general concept, you probably shouldn't be in bed with someone if you don't even know their birth date. If you don't know what they stand for, what they believe in, what they're made of, whether or not, yes, Daryl, to my talk that the grass is not always greener.
Yeah.
You know, what do you have in common? What are your principles? Where are you headed? And are we on the same page? Can we support one another's expansion? Instead of, geez, you're pretty. Well, geez, you're handsome. We should probably copulate. Right? It's weird. And it's symbolic of kind of where our world is going. So,
you know, Jay put in real love survives the test of time. I'll tell you something. I read a book years and years ago. I've read it multiple times, called The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck.
Scott Peck. Yes.
And
I have it back here on the shelf back here.
It's it may be the everybody needs to read that book, because he literally defines love, and his definition of it, and I happen to agree with it. It's not about this, you know, there's this, everybody's caught up in their feelings today. And and it's probably been like that for many, many years, but people are very feely, and they expect this love to produce this feeling inside. A euphoria. Yes.
Yep.
And Scott Peck talks about it in the book. He says that, you know, real love is actually, once the initial attraction, the physical sexual attraction, has worn off, because it will eventually, it not wear off completely. I don't mean it like that, but that new feeling,
the new car smell that I talked about.
Yes. There comes a point where you decide that you are sticking with that person no matter what. I've made that decision. You've made that decision. Your wife has made that decision. My wife has made that decision. You make the decision that no matter what, we're going to figure this out. I don't know how we get through this bump or whatever, right? But we're going to figure it out.
Right.
It's that simple.
Well, you're committed to push through. Now, that doesn't, of course, that brings up another question. That doesn't mean that people should allow abuse to occur. Right. But it's not what we've done. It's what we're committed to continuing to do. Like, are we going to keep on? Are you going to keep on doing that? No, I've learned. Okay. Then are we ready to move on? Or is this where you most want to be? Which I think is a great question to ask. Is this where you most want to be? I understand you've been through what you've been through. I've been what I've been through. I love you. I enjoy being here. Do you still enjoy being here? Yes. Is this where you most want to be? Yes. Then here's a thought. Why don't we both act like it? Why don't we both act like it? And I just, can I give you what I think is the recipe for continued friendship?
Yes.
I'm going to give you the one that's in play, but it's not the one I agree with. But it's the one that I see is in play, which is why I use the term friend sparingly.
Yes.
It seems to me that friendship is based on people performing the script that they have, you performing the script that they have written for you without your permission. Amen. So I want to say that again. As long as you continue to perform the script that others write for you in terms of how they want and or expect you to behave, as long as you perform that script, which isn't your script, that's their script that they've written for you. As long as you do that, they will keep you in your life, in their life, forever.
Yeah.
But that's certainly not love. That's not what love does. What that is that's control. Someone is saying, I've got it mapped out the way you need to be, and if you disrupt that, you're out of here. Yep. And so the threat of being jettisoned out of someone's life is a prevailing threat. And as a result, it's what enlists the continuation of relationships against our will, because people will stay in a relationship if for no other reason than the fear of loss. They don't want to be kicked to the curb. They don't want to be forgotten about. So they keep performing other people's play. And what I'd like to pitch tonight is it's not other people's place to write our scripts for us. Everyone should write their own script for their life, the way they dream it deserves to be lived, and live that, and hopefully be encouraged by your partner to do exactly that. Here's the bottom line. Carolyn knows how to live her life way better than I know how to live her life. I know way better how to live my life than she knows how to live my life. Therefore, she doesn't try to live my life for me, and I don't try to live her life for her. And she allows me to have the results come about that do come about because she knows I'm smart enough to pay attention. And if I step in the mud, she knows I'll learn from it and I'll figure it out. And I will be better at walking down a similar street in the future and know how to avoid that mud hole, whatever it is. So I want to tell everybody that watches us, please stop writing scripts for other people, dictating for them how it is they need to show up.
Amen.
And start allowing people to discover who it is they really are. It's really simple. If you like the way they really are, continue to be in that relationship. And if you don't, then leave. But don't try to force them to do life your way. It's not healthy.
You know, and I don't want to get all religious at all, but I do want to bring it up because it's beautiful about what love is from 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and about love is patient
and kind,
doesn't envy, does not boast, it is not proud, it doesn't dishonor others, it's not self-seeking, it's not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. That's where I think a lot of people get messed up. I know I have, where it's like, oh, but you said this or you did that and da 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 da, and then you're focused on all the negativity. And what has helped me in my relationship, my personal side of it, is sitting down, sometimes in Apple Notes, sometimes with a piece of paper, but sitting down and writing out all of the positive qualities that I'm in love with about my wife. And that redirects the neuro pathways in my brain. Like, okay, wait a minute, you idiot. Why are you focused on all of that when this is what you actually love about her? And that's just a stupid thing that happened. Like, you know, so I think that people need to, and again, we had this read at our wedding. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. That's what love is. That's what love is. And you know, you and I don't know that you and I've ever had an argument. I'm not sure
we haven't ever had an argument, which is why we made the decision to marry.
Because we need an argument, and that should provide the grounds.
Look at what Bridget said. J.D. Walters, you are on a wisdom roll over here today.
Let's see. What's he saying here? It takes two whole people or the journey of becoming two whole people to build a healthy relationship. It does. But I mean, yeah, I agree, but I have a yes and. How about
you have
that?
A yes and, Ken? What is your yes and?
The yes and is sometimes, for example, when I was really, really sick with COVID, I was knocking on death's door. I'm telling you, it was awful. A lot of you saw it. You definitely.
I did. I called Jill to make sure I was in your will.
We fine. You can have the damn shoes. He loves this one pair of shoes. I'm kidding, but like it was crazy. So I wasn't a whole person then. I was very, very, very sick, very sick. In fact, I was about probably 3% of the person I normally am. And my wife didn't go, you know what? You're no longer whole in this relationship. So I'm out of here. Like, good luck with this COVID crap. Hope it works out for you. But I met a cowboy in Texas, and I wonder if that's why she wanted to move to Texas. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But, you know, I hear what Jay is saying, but you're not always going to be whole. There's going to be times when one of you is not completely whole.
Off your game.
Or like, you know, and you talked about Carolyn's last surgery. she was off her game. You had to pick up where she couldn't do as like normal, right? So
Yeah.
I think that it's accepting that the other person, regardless of what their flaws are, it's accepting that there are these other things that if you focus on what you're grateful for, all of the other shit doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
I agree wholeheartedly. You know, I love in the scoring sometimes in athletic scoring how they'll take the high and low and toss out, right?
Yeah.
That your high will get your low score tossed out, so that you're averaging out what is someone's overall character, not what was their character in a moment. What was their? I mean, who amongst us has not had an off chapter?
Right.
Whether that chapter lasted a day, lasted a week, lasted a few months, whatever it is, right? And a lot of times that's part of our continuing to spiral in an upward escalating pattern, is that we have an off period where we go out of bounds, off course, lose our step, lose our direction, and then we find it again. And that homecoming is so sweet when we do, because now, if we're living life correctly, I'm going to be really bold and say that if we're living life correctly, that when we do make our comeback, we are not who we once were. We actually are an even stronger version, because now we have a clarity to us that we didn't have before we lost our way. It's so important to understand that. I mean, your troubled past can really serve you if you allow it to. If you allow it to. Right. Paul, in response to your question, it's simply to not do that. That I'm saying that the key to happiness is to not go around being a script writer, and also to not allow yourself to feel required, if you will, to perform somebody else's script just because they wrote it. And then one of the excuses people make is they're writing it or they're performing someone's script because of their title. So, for example, well, I mean, that script was written by my mother, so I have to do it, or it was written by my pastor, so I have to. The reality is, it doesn't matter who it is. Nobody has a right to author your life script for you. And I'll promise you, if you are living a life that was authored by somebody else, you are unhappy. And I'll say it with a great deal of emphasis, because that's the root cause of all unhappiness. I read a survey of 100 hospice patients who were asked, and Paul's heard me talk about this on Clubhouse a lot, who were asked what their 5 biggest regrets were. 5 biggest. And they're getting ready to leave the world, and they're talking about what they wish they either had done or had not done, right? What were your biggest regrets? And 97% shared the same number, one, albeit worded differently. They shared the same message. And that number one regret was they regretted that they had spent the entirety of their lives devoted to living the life they thought someone else wanted them to live.
Come on with it.
Ouch.
Ouch is right.
97% of 100 hospice patients surveyed were saying that upon their imminent departure, that's what they were thinking is, wow, I gave away all that time to what mom and dad wanted me to do, say, or be, what my minister wanted me to do, say, or be, my spouse, my kids, my brothers, my sisters, teachers, people in positions of influence, my boss, as though there even such a thing as a boss. A boss is an ego term. I remember working for a company many years ago as a waiter in a restaurant, and this general manager, he actually said to me this line, I'll never forget it. He said, "You will do as you're told, I'm your boss." To which I responded in the moment and said, I beg to differ with you. You are my employer. God is my boss. Can I mention to you, Ken, that he had nothing else to say? Nothing. There was nothing. There was no retaliatory statement. Nothing. I just explained to him that he was merely my employer, and that being an employer does not make you my boss. I have one boss. God is my boss. And anyway, we parted ways shortly after that.
I got to bring this up, man. My brother-in-law, my wife's amazing brother, he received his transitional promotion into heaven a few weeks ago, and by the grace of God, my wife was there with him, and because she wasn't going to be, and
at the time of his passing, right?
Something tapped me. Yeah, something tapped me and said she needs to go. So I bought her a ticket and said, "You're going," and I just have a feeling you need to be there, and she was there, and I'm going to try to hold my composure. He fought cancer for 44 years off and on, started at the age of 6, and he lived to be 50 years old, diagnosed with leukemia at 6 years old. And my wife saved his life when he was 10 and she was 15. She did a bone marrow transplant. She was the perfect match for him. And this guy, his name's Jeff Rainey. Jeff was the most amazing human that I've ever known in my life. He didn't allow anything to hold him back. He had no excuses. He was never sad. He was always happy, always. And to see, he went on, he had so much chemo and radiation that he became blind, legally blind, and was not allowed to drive a car, but yet he had a 25-year career teaching in school, got 2 master's degrees, had a sailboat. He had a couple of different sailboats. This guy, when I knew that it was his time, I said, the song came to mind, My Way by Frank Sinatra, because he definitely did it his way, the way he wanted to live. And he came here and lived. He left such an impact. And Glenn, you and I talked about this when I showed you the video. They literally closed down the entire school district on the Monday of his funeral.
Can you play a couple of minutes of that video to close us out tonight?
I don't have it. It would be.
Well, then can you play a little My Way?
I can't. That's copyrighted.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. But he did it. He did it his way. And he left such an impact in this world that an entire school district closed down for the day to celebrate his life and be there for him. And I just think, man, what along the lines of what you're saying, like, dude, you get one shot. You get one shot at life here. There's all kinds of religious beliefs that we come back and we do. I don't know about any other lives. All I know about is this one, the one I'm living right now, and the one that you're living right now. And anybody watching or listening, you get one shot to make an impact so strong in this world that an entire school system would shut down for the day to celebrate your life. One shot. What are you going to do? What are you doing with it now? And how long are you going to use BS excuses to hold you back from what God intended you? Glenn said it in his speech to the students. Say it, dude. Say it to everybody. Say your closing statement.
When I remind them that they outswam 500 million competitors to arrive here in the first place in terms of the initial sperm race. So given that the math was that steep and yet you won, then the bottom line is, why did you swim so fast? What did you have in mind? Because I'll promise you it was not mediocrity. And we know that because if mediocrity was the goal, you wouldn't have been rewarded with life. You had to be not only masterful. Think about this. You actually had to be the best.
The best.
In order to get here in the first place. It started with you being the best, and not 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100, but 1 out of 500 million. It started with you being the exception to the rule, the best.
Yeah.
So if you suffer from loser syndrome, rest assured you done thought that up yourself. You thought that up somewhere along the run. It's nothing more than a failure to remember the truth.
Amen.
That's all losing is. It's a failure to acknowledge the truth. And maybe you've never really stopped and considered that you arrived here on earth in the winner's circle. That was your first piece of real estate to occupy, was the winner's circle. Welcome to the world. Congratulations on your gold medalist swim. We have a trophy for you to acknowledge your victory today. We have a name for it. It's called your body. So that's what you've won for outswimming all of these other little these little sperm cells. You are awarded with the trophy of your body, but here's the deal. You got to take care of it.
Yeah.
Take care of your trophy. Your body's a trophy, not a trash can. So don't treat it like a trash can. Treat it like the trophy that it is. And I think as cliche as it sounds, I think all paths lead to, you got to fall in love with your life. You just got to do that. Are you in love with your life? Because if you're not in love with your life, you won't care about so many other things. It just won't matter. It won't be, it'll be like, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point? But if you're in love with your life, you'll start seeing the point to certain things. What is the point to picking up that cup on the side of the road? Who cares? What's the point? If you're in love with your life, you'll see the point. What is the point with holding the door open for that person at the bank, even though they're more than 5 steps away? They're like 25 steps away, and yet I'm going to stand there attentively and hold it. And they're going to wind up being in front of me at the bank, and that's also okay.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay. I just don't find myself with this laundry list of things I need to get worked up about. It doesn't matter if they're ahead of me at the bank. It's fine. So,
amen, man.
I don't even think you have to be frustrated in traffic. All you have to do is leave early. That'll end all frustration, because if you leave early, then nobody can slow you down, because it won't matter anyway, because you left early.
That's right.
So there are a lot of ways to solve and to bring to an end the things that human beings pee and moan about. Yeah. And all you have to do is use your heart and noggin in that mind-heart coherence a little more than you currently do, and things will get better real fast.
Amen.
Good night, my brother.
Hey, listen, everybody watching, if you want to see Ken and Glenn
in person
live, meet us, hang out for a couple of days, learn a lot. Go to kenwalls.com. kenwalls.com.
Ken Walls, right there.
And click on the button at the top and let us know you're interested. You're not going to spend any money yet, but you are going to have to pay. There's only 28 tickets available, or seats available. So, love you guys, all of you. Glenn, I love you, man. I love you
back, buddy.
Yeah.
Glad to be back home in the Lone Star State with you, and I'll see you later in the week.
It just feels better having you here.
I feel the same, man.
I
feel the same having you here. So we'll have lunch at the end of the week.
All right, bro. All right, you guys. Man. Hey, stay with me, Glenn. I'm going to end this, but everybody have a wonderful, wonderful night. And
are you going to close with our music, baby?
I am.
You got to, because then we can go the full 2 hours. Right now we're at a minute. We're at an hour 58:50. So
hey, yeah,
if we play the out, it'll be a 2-hour show.
Well, no, it's 29-second outro. So
all right, well then you better do something that's meaningful for 28 seconds.
Let's. Hey, as you always say to everybody, when you end your class, you say, "Go out this week and make good choices.
Make it a great day, and by all means, help someone else do the same." And it all comes down to choices. So make some, elevate your intentionality this week by making some different and better choices than what has been predictably there. Make some new ones this week, right?